Sciatica. In my opinion, there's probably no pain worse than sciatica. You know what I'm talking about. You get that little bit of pain in your low back, and then it starts getting worse as you sit down. And then you start getting that burning pain. It can go down one leg or both legs, and you might get tingling. Well, the good news is this. I've been successfully treated in sciatica for decades, and I'm going to give you some great tips, and hopefully you'll get some relief right now. So let's get the protocol right. If you're suffering with sciatica, the first thing you always want to do is to get those muscles that are in your back to relax. We call them the paraspinal muscles. These are the muscles that are in and around your spine. And the best way to get them to relax is to get on your back, okay? Now, to do this first part, and is to get things going, we're gonna bounce things around and we're gonna move on to more things later. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you, most people who have sciatica, they can't sleep, they're up all night. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna get into how you should sleep. I'm gonna give you a real quick way to get right to sleep. Okay, but this, for starters, we wanna start in a position we call the recovery position. And by doing this, this actually relaxes the paraspinal, the muscles in and around your spine, and it feels good. You could do this you could start with a few minutes, and you can do this throughout the day. Anytime you feel pain, go right into this position, and the more you do it, it kind of cascades. You're going to feel better and better and better. So let's start with I'm starting on a table. I recommend doing this. If you can do it on the floor. You might have trouble getting up if you have really bad sciatica. So if you have trouble getting up, maybe start up on a bench or your bed if your bed surface is hard. But we're going to get into that later on in this video. So we're going to start flat on our back, and the key thing here is this. When you're lying down, you always want to think about your kinetic change. You always want to think about your posture. Every exercise we do, we want to start setting muscle memory so we start developing good habits. And so if we're lying flat on our back, the key thing here is we always want to keep our thumbs pointing towards the sky. Why do we want to do that? Because that opens up the shoulders, it flattens the shoulders, increases the breathing, the vital capacity gets better, and that relaxes your paraspinal muscles, your back muscles. Now, as far as the knees are concerned, we want to keep the knees at a 90-degree angle, okay, from trunk to thigh, okay? So we want 90 degrees, and again, that relaxes. You'll feel it feels great. If you have sciatica, this, you probably intuitively or innately already know this. This feels much, much better. But we don't want to bring the knees up too far. If they come up too close, you're creating way too much pressure down at your low back. Too far down this way, we're working a different muscles group, and we don't want to go there. Okay, so the key thing is to just lie here and relax. You can do this. This is simple, right? Now, if you're feeling good and you want to take it to the next level, you grab let's say, a cushion, a ball, somebody's head, I don't care, anything. Put that just gently between your knees, and all we're going to do from this position is we're going to squeeze our knees together. Now, these are what we call the adductor muscles, okay? Squeeze her, hold it for about 10 seconds, and then relax for 10 seconds. And do it again. We're going to do this 10 times. Hold it for 10 seconds and relax for 10 seconds. I promise you, if you're suffering sciatica right now, this is a fantastic tip, and it should work right away. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, now that you just finished your supine exercises, or the exercises lying on your back, you're starting to feel better, right? Come on, come on, look at me. I can see it. You're feeling better because these exercises do work. I have great experience in this, and I'm going to get you there. Don't worry. If you feel confident, let's move over. We're going to flip you over, work on your tummy. But let me take a second here, because now that you're out a little bit of pain, I can explain what's happening. It's like if you go to a dentist and you have an abscessed tooth, you don't care why you have it, just fix it. But now that you're feeling a little bit better, let's look at why you're getting this pain in the first place. In my estimate, in my experience of 30 years, I would say most causes of sciatica is from your discs. And so if we look at, let's keep this real simple. You look at the spine. The spine, there's 24 bones, and these bones are movable, 24 movable pieces. And in between these bones are these shock absorbers, these things we call discs. And the ideal position of the spine, you should have a neck curve, mid-back curve, low back curve, and pelvic curve. And you hear us talking all the time here about structure and keeping the balance, the front muscles, anterior chain muscles, back chain muscles. But what happens is with the modern posture, and this is why people get sciatica, is that these things go haywire because we sit in a position all day long. So ideally, the ears should line up with the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the ankles when you're standing, and the spine should be like a coil or spring. But let's say if you're sitting at a computer all day long and your head's going forward, what happens is the low back here starts going in the y-axis, starts straightening out. and you can see the head goes forward here like that. And so what happens when the spine goes in that kind of position, it puts loading on your discs and not your muscles. So the weight's being dispersed into your discs, not your muscles, and so your discs are maybe designed to hold about 25% of your weight, but if the y-axis, your spine is straight, you're taking 100% load. So let's take a look at the disc, and here's a really good model. And so we look at the disc here, you can see the disc is, the best way to think of a disc, think of it like a rubbery jelly donut. And so it has this hard kind of exterior, but in the middle has this kind of nucleus, which is kind of like maybe the consistency of toothpaste. And when you start loading in the y-axis straight down like that, that nucleus starts squirting out like so. Can you see that? And it hits, in that nucleus or that gel substance hits that nerve. And when it hits that nerve, that shoots that pain right down your leg. And so now that we know that, we want to work in terms of decompressing that. So everything we do, we want to think in terms of pulling or tractioning that disc out. We want to pull that out. We want to suck that nucleus back in. We want to neutrify that. We want to re-oxygenate it. And by moving that back and forth like that, it gets oxygen back into that area. A lot of questions people say, well, what about inversion tables and stuff? And I don't like these things because, and the reason being is because what happens is if you start tractioning your disc and you hold it in a position like that, what happens is your muscles in and around your spine start kicking in and they get really tight and they splinter. So it's counterintuitive, but it doesn't really work. So what we're going to do, everything we do is going to be intermittent. We just do it a few times and get off, back and forth, okay? So now let's move on to the prone. So what we want to do is we want to start with a couple pillows, and we're going to ease into this first. Maybe 2 or 3 pillows. Start where you are, okay? And you'll know, believe me, if you have sciatica, you'll know. So we want to just get onto, and pretend this is my bed. I'm going to line these tables here and just relax. And I'm doing this, I'm creating just a bit of a traction down at the base of my spine. And if you have sciatica and if you can handle this feels really, really good. Now, as time progresses and you feel like you're getting a little bit more confidence, you can do a little bit better, take one of those pillows out and do it again. Okay, and over time, get rid of the pillows. And the goal here would be to start going into a push-up position or cobra position, like that. And what we want to do is we want to traction. So we're pulling up, locking our elbows and lifting our head up here. And you can just, what we want to do is we want to traction that spine. Just think in terms of that disc, we want to traction that spine out. Okay, let's move on to the next exercise. Okay, now let's talk about a way we can start tractioning your discs all day long. And this is a really simple exercise, and you can do it anywhere. All you're going to need is 2 bookshelves, 2 chairs, anything at all. Improvise, folks. This is real simple. As far as how much you should do as much as you can. And you could do this all day long, and there's no downside. It's all good because, again, we're going to be opening this up and closing these discs. But the thing is, when you're doing this kind of exercise, you don't want to hold in a position for too long. What we want is that integrated movement so we get pumping on that disc. So let's say I'm just improvising here. What I want to do is I'm going to put my palms flat down, let's say if it's a chair or 2 bookshelves, and I want to lift my weight off. Now the goal here is we don't want to go all the way off the floor. We don't want our feet hanging off the floor like that. We want to go maybe about 50 to 75% of your weight off your discs. The key thing here is you want to relax your thorax, relax these muscles in here, because what we want to do, we want to distract those areas. We want to traction that disc. We want to pump the fluid back, that nucleus back into the disc. So I'm going to just push down, and what I want to do is I want to get to a point where I can lock my elbows. So I'm not putting any pressure on my muscles, and just like that. And it feels really good. Some people do this and they get immediate relief, and then the pain starts coming back. So if pain comes back, just do it again and keep doing it. And the more you do it, it starts to diminish, the pain starts diminishing, and it's a great way to traction your disc all day long. Let's move on to how to sleep now. Okay, now this is the part for people who have sciatica and can't sleep, which means probably most of you out there who are suffering with this terrible condition. Listen, you have to recover. You have to sleep properly. You have to have a good mattress. You have to have a good pillow. Forget about it. You have to do that. You have to just spend the money. You have to get the right equipment. Like when I've been designing mattresses for decades, and we come up with maybe 5 or 6 different criteria. But here's the most important thing: if you're suffering with sciatica, if you're on your mattress and you go right to the edge of your mattress, put your feet up, and if you can bounce, if that holds your weight and there's a bit of bounce or resonance there, chances are that's a decent mattress. Okay, so what I'm on here right now is natural latex. This is 25 centimeters. This is one of my favorite mattresses. The way it's designed, I can go on and on and on, but get a good mattress, get a good pillow, okay? Now, you're gonna need 4 pillows. We're gonna need 3 down here and 1 up here with sciatica, okay? So the first thing is we're gonna I'm going to suggest you sleep on your side. And let's say, for the sake of discussion here today, let's say I have sciatica on my left. I got a pain in the arse on the left side. It's burning. It's going down my leg here like that. So what you always want to do is you always want to get a pillow between your knees. Why would we want to do that? Because we're repatterning. We want to repattern your spine. We want to keep the pelvis nice and aligned. The second thing is we want to get these other two pillows, and we want to put just a little bit of an incline there, because what that's going to do is going to take that sciatic nerve, just if you can think of your sciatic nerve like a big guitar string, and we want to take the tension out of that while we're sleeping. So if we put those feet up on maybe two pillows, and then we get a decent pillow that keeps our spine in perfect alignment, and like that you will go right to sleep, and you'll wake up, you'll feel refreshed. And then you can get onto those 3 exercises I gave you, and you keep, repeat, push, repeat, and you're going to be so much better. Please send it on to people who you know are suffering with sciatica, and we look forward, as usual, to your comments. I can't wait to see you at the next video.